Dear students, teachers, and scholars from various parts of the country, a warm welcome to all of you. PG Department of English, Baitulisa Arts and Science College, Narikuni, Calicut has been arranging series of invited talks on topics connected with the English language and literature. So this program is to motivate students of English from various colleges. Today we have with us a respected personality, Mrs. Rinsha CP, Assistant Professor of English, JDT Islam College of Arts and Science, Vallimadakkunnu, Calicut. Mrs. Rinsha is a scholar from Providence College, Calicut, and she has completed her UG and PG from Providence College, Malapparambu, Calicut. Before joining in JDT Islam College, Mrs. Rinsha was a teacher in the PG Department of English by Tulisa Arts and Science College, Calicut, and later in the PG Department of English, KMO College, Kottavalli. Today, she is presenting a talk before us on the topic Complexity of Gender and Identity and Influence of Culture. I invite Mrs. Rinsha to read her paper. Thank you.
Greetings to one and all. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Rinsha CP, working as an assistant professor of English in JDT Arts and Science College, Calicut. I sincerely thank Dr. CK Ahmed sir for giving me such an opportunity to deliver my short lecture before you all. And my topic for today is complexity of gender and identity and influence of culture. As we all know that it's been long since 1950s, we increasingly use the term gender in academic literature and public discourse. Over the years, the perception of the issue gender has been changing and developing from essentialism to social constructionism, I would say. Essentialism, on one hand, suggests that gender is a biological sex, and when it comes to social constructionism, which suggests that gender is constructed within a social and cultural discourse. Somewhat, it is a complex issue, I would say, and there are different perspectives of gender with respect to its complexity. One is gender is biological sex, and it is an oversimplified and I would like to say a stereotypical vision of differentiating between genders. This view is actually problematic when it is used to interpret the real world around us. And contrary to the biological view, the sociologist says that people who are not born with behaviors and characteristics of being masculine or feminine, but gender identity is developed within a culture and within the society where the culture is nurtured and perpetuated. People are sometimes expected to comply with the norms within that culture to a great extent, I would say. And culture influences our beliefs about what is true and false, our attitudes, including our likes and dislikes, our values regarding what is right and wrong, everything. And from these influences, we are molding our identities. We all envisioned a giant wave of culture and its influence on our construction of identities. The impact it made was actually tremendous, I would say. As we might try to resist the wave that is culture, it will take everyone up with it and carry us all along in the same direction. That is what is going to happen. And if you think you can swim against this wave, then it will only end in exhaustion. So, the only choice left before us is to swim with the wave and try to land somewhere safe. See, this is the problem that we encounter in our society when it comes to the topic called gender and identity. It is not easy to negate the role of culture completely when it comes to the gender problems that we face today. And what I believe is that the power of culture is very crucial to shape gender identities, especially for the adolescents making the transition from a child to adult. As a young people build their adult identities, they constantly look to the culture around them. It begins from a family, and from family it moves to peers, and from peers it moves to popular media for guidance. And we cannot negate the influence of media, that is the popular media, based on the gender issues, and how media presents gender is a constant distortion. Like, I would say it was the powerful influence than any other thing. And women are always underrepresented, like they are portrayed as unimportant or invisible, and they are brought in a stereotypical fashion by the media. And they are brought in a stereotypical fashion, and they makes tempts us to believe that men are the cultural standards, and media continue to present both men and women in stereotypical ways that limit our perception of human possibilities. Typically, men are portrayed as active, adventurous, powerful, sexually aggressive. And what about women? Women are, on the contrary, they are portrayed as, or we can say, they are objectified, like thin, beautiful, sexually appealing one, passive, dependent, and often incompetent and dumb. So, such influences makes them obsessed about how to interpret and incorporate what they see into their values and actions. Knowingly or unknowingly, what happens is the parents who, when from very young, seems to transcend gender roles only to be swept up in the dominant culture's gender expectation as they proceeded to primary and secondary school. Boys who, as toddlers, who had given teddy bear tea parties, eventually picked up sticks and pretended to shoot laser beams at one another. And girls, on the other hand, what they are going to do is who had pretended to be pirates become more and more curious about makeup and fashion magazines. And all of this happened much to the concern of their progressively minded parents, including myself, I would say, thinking that we could raise our children to not be bound by such conventional gender rules. So, in order to help the younger generation, including both boys and girls, we can build and develop a critical perspective on how gender expectations influence their literary practices, and bringing it as a part of ongoing conversations we should be having in the classroom itself. And I might think that when they understand that their values and assumptions are constructed by the culture, they will definitely have the power to connect with those values or explore alternatives. Either way, they have a choice to make, and in making choices, they are learning to think critically. See, This is a kind of process that they have to undergo. Initially, don't expect sophisticated answers from them, but gradually we can help them to start recognizing these questions as important, like how does the world around them is going, or from family to friends, and friends to the popular culture, and from popular culture to school, shape their desires and fears. And how do they respond? Such questions we can help them to answer such questions. So we need to understand the complexity and shifting nature of the cultural assumptions and values that exist. And we can offer them possibilities and critiques for both boys and girls. And I would like to conclude by saying that culture is like a river, I would say. We all are moving along in that water. And yes, there are currents that move generally in one direction and often make it easiest to go with the flow. Although the currents are not always predictable, the surroundings often change, and the river can change its course, of course. What we need to teach our future generation is how to recognize the challenges of the river, how to navigate it to get to where they want to go, and when necessary, how to turn the boat around and slowly and with great effort move upstream against the current. Thank you.